Ooh, this is fun. When did you first become interested in the opposite sex?
I'm laughing because apparently we were on holiday from London. I must have been 5. We were on holiday in a French resort on the sea. I can't remember the name. And I had met a little boy whose name was Peter, and we played together. And then, for some unknown reason, I was going to sleep. I think maybe it was to help my parents, I don't know. But I was to sleep over. And so I was bathed and suppered and fed and got into bed. I wanted to go home. And my poor parents had to come and take me home.
Aww.
So that was my first rather unsuccessful meeting with the opposite sex.
How old were you?
5.
5.
About that, 4 or 5.
But so when did you first become interested, though, in boys?
I have another story.
Oh, good.
But it's got nothing to do with being interested in boys. It just involved a boy.
Okay.
It was during the war. We were due to come back to South Africa. And children, and I think we were the only 2, because I don't recall any other children. Children ate in the dining room first, and then the adults had. And we were sitting together, and this little boy's name was Freddie. And he said he wanted another egg. Because, I mean, here we were suddenly, without any restriction, you know, it was incredible. And they said to him, "No, Freddie, 1 egg is enough. Can't have another egg." And he said, "Why? Why can't I have another egg?" And the woman said to him, "Because you'll get pimples." And Freddie sat back and he said, "My mum's got pimples on her bum." Imagine. I remember that so clearly. End of story. Now, to go back to your original question, it was in Donegal Avenue, Park View, Johannesburg. There was a boy who used to ride his bicycle. His name was Duncan. He used to ride his bicycle down to the bottom of my garden, and then he'd whistle, and I'd go out and we'd talk. I think it was my dad who said, "You're not a dog. Just because he whistles doesn't mean you must come." And I mentioned this to him, I think, and he changed, or he wanted to change, but it was too late. Dirty deed was done. I'm not a dog, so you don't whistle for me. So, I mean, obviously I was not enamored of the poor boy.
How old?
Oh, must have been about 12.
Do you remember the first boy that you were interested in, or that you had a crush on, or that?
You know, I wish I knew in sequence. I know that I remember the first kiss I had. It was with a Greek boy.
Mm.
I can't tell you how continentals have featured in my life. Anybody who's been even vaguely interesting certainly could not be South African. His name was Dimitri, and he was very much in love with me. And we went to, I had a little Fiat Cub car, and he'd come with me to the amateur drama classes. And in the car, somebody else was driving, while we were sitting in the back. I mean, that's not easy. Very small little car, and I enjoyed our first kiss. It was that was great.
How old were you?
Then I must have been about 18, 17. 17.
And did you go out with him for a while?
Yes, no. Well, there was three of us. His best friend, Brayton Rediker, was an American.
Ah.
And Mimi, Dimitri, known as Mimi Roussos, and I. And we do things together.
That's so fun. As you got older, what did you and your friends do for fun?
Have children. Crying out loud.
So, but as an 18-year-old, what would you guys do for fun?
Well, go to theatre, play tennis. Sport was important. Never anything intellectual.
Theater's not unintellectual.
No, theatre's okay. I loved that. That was my first love.
Acting?
My dad wouldn't hear of it. I actually got the part, the star part of a play called Night of January 16. And what is it when you read?
Audition?
Audition, couldn't think of the word. I auditioned for the part and got it. And I was so chuffed. I remember I had to do that in town, meet the producer in town, and did that and got the part. And my dad wouldn't let me do it.
How old are you?
19, 18.
And
definitely one of those two.
Yeah, and you couldn't do anything about that.
Oh, we had all the snot and trana. You know, it was all the tears and stampings, and I was scared of my dad.
Why?
Not of my mom.
Why were you scared of your dad?
Because he had a temper, bad temper. And I was very upset that I couldn't do that. I think that changed the whole passage of my life. You know, if I'd been allowed to do that, and then as well as to go overseas, I wanted to go overseas with a girlfriend, and he wouldn't hear of it.
How do you think it would have changed your life?
Well, I wouldn't have met Teddy and got married and had all these children. I had 3 children when the oldest was 3.
Whoa.
So.
It's a lot of children at once.
One after the other. not intentionally. Yeah.
What, I want to ask another question about that, but I don't. Like, how did you process that or deal with that through the years, that idea that your life might have gone a different course if you had been allowed to take that route?
I don't think it did enter my mind. I just was so busy with children. And then you move in a circle where everybody's interested in children. They're all having first kids and what have you. So you become rather shallow, but children orientated. Now I remember with Dale, just as a quick aside, she was horrible. She was a horrible baby. I didn't like her at all. And she used to cry and wail, and I was pregnant with Robin.
Oh my goodness.
And Anthony was sleeping, and that was okay. And I went into the room where Dale was, howling, and I started to cry. And I cried loud so that Teddy would hear, because he never got up. And I made howl with Robbie sitting here because there was no room here. It was all tummy. And eventually Teddy got up and he said, "Oh, for God's sake, give the baby to me." It was pleasure. Took the baby and I went to bed. And from then on, if Dale cried, "Dale's calling you."
Oh, that's a nice arrangement.
It was. So, yeah.
What did you study in high school?
Oh. I think I only had 6 subjects. English, Afrikaans, French, biology, art, and I don't know, geography, I can't remember.
Did you have a favorite subject?
Art.
What about it?
Sorry?
What did you like about studying art?
Just the freedom of expression, I should imagine.
Yeah. And did you get to actually do art, or did you?
Yes.
It was art history. Oh, you did it. You
Yes.
did it.
I did history of art in university.
Oh, I love art history also. Yeah. When did you learn to drive?
Oh, that was with Mimi, the Greek boy told you about. We had such a fight. Because I don't know what I was doing wrong, but I got a blast. And I blasted him back and gave him a clap. Hit him. And actually scratched his face.
Oh, really?
Can you imagine? I was unrepentant, I might tell you.
Oh. Why? What? Because you were driving and you did something wrong?
Yes, I don't remember the reason, but we did have an argument.
That's so funny. So how old were you when you learned how to drive?
18.
18.
In fact, I remember driving. The driving teacher said something about, "Are you going out for your birthday?" And it was going to be my 18th birthday. And I said, "How did you know?" He said, "Watch the road."
So, when did you get your first car? What kind, and how much did it cost?
I can answer that one. I was driving with my dad. We were going up a hill, and there was a little Fiat Cub parked at the side of the road. I didn't say anything, nor did he. He drove up because it was a hill, and then he said, yeah, I think you should have a car. And I was out of my mind with excitement because Keith had a oh dear, not a stepmother, a mother. What is that? The mother that is not your mother, but
Mother-in-law?
no,
Godmother.
godmother. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Keith had a godmother who left him £500, which was a lot of money in those days. £500 for Keith, and just because she felt sorry for me, she wasn't my stepmother, but she left me £100.
Mm-hmm.
And Daddy said, yeah, I think you should have a car. And so I used that £100 as down payment. That's before we had rands and all that. And I was working,
What were you doing?
dress designing. I was working in a factory though at that stage. And every end of the month I paid for my little Fiat. It was grey, silver grey.
Mm.
Yeah.
Did you love it?
I loved her.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she didn't have a name.
But it was definitely a her.
Definitely.
It was definitely a her.
Yeah, I think so. My present one's a her,
Ah.
Esmeralda. Yeah, I wonder why. It's interesting.
I'm going off script here, but I wanna know more about Joss.
Yes.
What he was like.
He was warm and loving, and for instance, you know, he bought me my first dog.
Mm-hmm.
And how he did it.
Mm.
Did I tell you how he
No.
took me into London?
No.
I think I told you I was lonely,
Yeah.
and I think he was aware of that. And he was studying medicine, so he was like a perennial student.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he decided a dog would be a good idea for this child, because they wouldn't have another baby because of the war. They waited till they were in South Africa, and then 9 months later he was born. It was Joss. No, my dad took me into London. I think I've told you this actually, I remember. He left me with the nurses, and he went off, and he came back with a puppy, and that was my first dog.
Yeah.
And that was like my constant companion, my dog. So there weren't. I did have a friend, Maureen. I was jealous of her. She had a beautiful dress with, oh my God, what's it called? I can't remember the...
Ruffles? Or
No,
lace?
No. It's an art, stitch form.
Cross stitch?
Mm-mm.
Crochet.
Something like that. Very, all pastel colours on a white ground, this dress. I was so jealous. It was so beautiful. Oh. Now we're back to me and not Joss. But let me tell you, Mum went to town, to London. She's actually a bit of a martinet, I think.
What's a martinet?
Martinet, a strict
Mm.
female. She came back and she had bought, I can't remember what she bought for me, but she bought a box of paints for Maureen as a gift. And I didn't get that, got something else. And I wanted what
Okay.
she had. And so, oh God, I decided to poison her. So I could get the box of paints. Oh my God. And how did I poison her? Oh my God, when I think of it, I found a slug in the garden.
This is amazing.
I don't know where, just your being here, bringing back all these memories. And I stabbed this slug and gave it to her to eat.
What did she say?
I don't know what she said. I was far more interested in waiting to see if she was going to keel over, which she didn't do.
How'd you get her to eat a slug?
I put it on the end of this pointy, I think it was a pointy thing with like a red knob. So they were all pointy with red knobs. And I think it was for an hors d'oeuvre or
Oh, I see.
whatever, putting it out on a plate.
And that's very interesting. I like that story. Why do you think Joss had a temper?
Joss going way back. Joss was being born when his dad was in the room next door, dying of fish poisoning. And what am I telling you?
Why he had a temper?
His mum remarried. I'm not sure how old he was. I think he was about 7. And he was sent to boarding school, age 7, which I found horrific when I heard it. I was also sent to boarding school, actually.
Really?
I hated it.
How old?
High school, 12, 13.
For how long?
I came back and wrote matric in Joburg. I was 16 when I wrote my matric. Which was bloody marvellous, seeing as how I'd been in 11 schools. Anyway, what can I tell you about Joss? Joss was very good looking. He looked like a then star actor, Flynn.
Errol Flynn.
Errol Flynn. And the ladies loved him, and I think he loved the ladies. Although he was, yeah, he was warm and loving.
Were you close? Were you
Close.
close to him?
Yes and no. I looked after my mom. If she, I told you about holding my dad and his cousin's hand.
Holding your dad.
Isn't
Oh,
that-
yeah.
We'd go for a walk.
Yeah.
Mum would stay home and do the cooking or whatever, and we would walk. he with his cousin who was visiting,
Uh-huh.
and he would take her arm.
Mm.
And if I saw that, I would run quickly and stand in
In
between,
between.
and
Ah.
so they couldn't hold. So I was jealous, but I was jealous for my mom.
Mm.
I remember telling this to a psychiatrist once,
Mm.
years ago. And he said, "Are you sure you were jealous for your mom, not for yourself?"
Mm. What
And
did
I
you-
was pretty sure. I didn't think it would have worried me.
That's
Mom.
interesting.
Had been there. Wouldn't have. Anyway,
Hmm.
I'm repeating myself now.
No, you're not, actually. This is very interesting also for me, understanding where I come from. Did you attend college, and where?
I attended the hell was it called? I can't remember the name, but it was like an arty side of university. It'll occur to me, I hope. And that's where I learned pattern making and dress designing and all that sort of stuff.
Did you love that? Did you enjoy that very much?
Yes, I did. I enjoyed that. But I think, I don't know if it's that way around, because I was at varsity too for 2 years, and that was just a waste of time. That was just playing about. I wasn't interested in anything really. Psychology was the one subject, English, and art.
Art history or
Art history and
visual arts
painting and
painting?
so on.
How much did college cost then?
Oh, I don't know.
What was your social life like in college?
These are all blanks.
Interesting. I wonder why.
I was always doing something. I remember doing a Valentine's card, you know, with the heart, the baby picture of me inside. I don't know what I had written, I don't know. And I think I gave that to Mimi, I'm not sure.
How long were you and Mimi together?
Quite a long time, on and off.
Do you know where he is now?
You know, that makes me think,
Yeah.
could be interesting.
Did you work during your school years?
My school years? No.
Now, jumping ahead, when and how did you meet the person you married?
Ted. I've told you that story already.
Did we film it?
I don't know.
Maybe
We went to I was invited to a golf club dance, Place dance. It was a chap called Clive Rosenberg. Does that not ring a bell?
You told me this, but not on here.
Anyway, I watched Clive eating his boerewors or whatever it was he was eating, and it was a case of throwing back, eating with his mouth open. I thought I was going to die. I thought, I've got to get out of here. And I looked around and there was Teddy, and he looked nice, he had a nice smile, so I made a beeline. And I don't know how, but he ended up asking me out. And I was delighted to be out of Clive Rosenberg's clutches.
How old were both of you?
Oh, Ted's about 2 years older than me. And I must have been about 19.
Oh, wow. Dad doesn't ask this, but I'm going to ask it. What attracted you to him?
To who?
Teddy.
To Ted.
Hmm.
His smile.
Hmm. That's lovely.
Beautiful smile. He's still got it.
When and where did you get married?
Got I got married in the Beth HaMidrash Hagadol. And it took me a long time to learn that. Which was the religious Jewish synagogue in Berea somewhere.
And when?
Oh. When? About, you mean you need 19 something there?
Sure.
I don't know. I was about 19.
Wow.
No, it couldn't have been 19. I don't know.
A long time ago.
18, 17.
19.
I can't remember. Teddy will remember.
What is, what's his full name?
Theodore.
Theodore.
No, Tuvia.
Tuvia.
Mm.
Tuvia, did he have a middle name?
Mm-mm.
It's Tuvia Gardi?
Gardi. I think it was Golodeski, and they changed it to Gardi.
Oh. Huh.
Tuvia.
That's a
Couldn't have
very...
been Teddy or anything else, because Mum was very Jewish.
Huh. That's interesting. Where was your honeymoon?
That's another story. I married the wrong person. My wedding, the honeymoon,
Yeah.
was in the Drakensberg Mountains, where we started our marriage fighting. And I think we fought all the way until we got divorced. And now I've grown up. When I saw him and I didn't agree with him, I just let it pass. It's a little bit late. We went to the Drakensberg Mountains. We both took a horse and went up into the mountain, and then we decided to get off the horse, and so we got up and tethered the horse, and there was a little stream, and I was standing on a little bridge watching Ted down there, and Ted, I just suddenly saw him sort of going and I started to do what you're doing. Instead of saying, "Hey, be careful," he was just sinking. And I laughed. I thought I was going to wet myself. And got onto this flaming horse. And Teddy was furious. One can understand it, I suppose. I mean, so infra-dig. And and so then we finished our holiday, which was about a week, and we went to Durban. This is what Teddy was waiting for, so he could play golf. This is a honeymoon, don't forget. I never saw him.
Oh.
He played golf all the time. And did I tell you that he twisted my teddy bear's arms round?
No.
Yeah, he was horrible.
Oh.
And stood there with the teddy doing this, saying, "I'm too young to be a daddy."
And he was why was he twisting your teddy bear's arm?
I think he was bored.
Oh.
Had nothing to do, so yeah, poor little Teddy. You want to see my Teddy?
Yeah.
I'll show you when deleted.
You still have it?
Mm.
Oh my goodness. I definitely want to see it.
In pieces.
But it's there.
Poor thing. That Teddy was at my matric,
Uh-huh.
on my desk,
Uh-huh.
at university, was everywhere with me. My wedding, I gave it to my aunt, Thalia, Joss's sister.
Uh-huh. Where did the two of you live after getting married?
We lived in an apartment in an area called the Berea, and it was not upmarket, but it was comfortable for newlyweds, and that's where we lived.
Did you like your house? Your apartment? Your flat?
Did I?
Did you like your flat?
Oh yes, oh yes. And it was fun not being answerable to a mum or dad. Yeah.
Did you both work?
Yes. Ted was a dentist, and he was in partnership with another dentist, Reg Sadelsky. And I was doing my fashion design, learning pattern making, and yes.
And did you have your own label, or did you work for a...
No, I was still in the study part of it. I worked for a big firm, Jaff and Company, and learnt a lot there. But there were working hours, you had to be there at a certain time, and then you could leave at a certain time.
How long were you married?
12 years, I believe.
Where did you raise your children?
My first baby was Anthony, and he was born. We moved from the apartment in the Berea to another apartment in a better part of town, Rosebank, and my first baby was born there. And then we built a house, and my second baby was born in the house, and that was Dale. And then the third baby was born in the same house, and that was the end. There were 3 babies in 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of babies.
A lot of babies.
Do you have any particular memories of your marriage that you remember or want to share?
Sorry, I'm having a think. Teddy was a good husband. He was a good husband, but how can I say? I actually don't know how to put it. You'll have to keep it as otherwise we won't ever get finished. What was I on about?
You were saying people asked you if you had regrets.
Oh yes. Having had a disabled child, and as disabled as Tanya is. And my answer, truthfully, is that I have regrets for Tanya, not for me. I had 3 children and a wonderful relationship for 20 years. Would have been wonderful if it could have continued, but it couldn't or didn't, and I'm not bitter about that. I'm sad. It would have been wonderful if it could have lasted. But my regrets are for Tanya. She is severely physically disabled. I don't think most people realize just how badly disabled she is. And the tragedy of Tanya is that she's mentally so bright, so she knows exactly what's happening. And like now, when she has to be away from me, and she can't be with me, is very, very hard for her and for me. Yeah, well, I've gone off at a tangent. Don't know what we were talking about.
Because the tangents are the best parts, I think. Oh, so where did you raise Tanya then?
Where was she born? I'm trying to think which house. No, she was born when we lived in Parkmore, in a house in Parkmore, which I loved.
Was that the house that
Must be.
that you lived all the way until you moved here?
Yes.
I loved that house.
Yes, me
What
too.
was the name you named that house? What was it called?
Robindale,
Robindale?
was it?
I don't know. I
Don't
loved that
remember.
house so much. It was such a beautiful house.
I loved it too.
I have such good memories of it.
That's great.
Yeah. What sort of vacations did you take with your children?
Almost none. Because I was a single mum and I couldn't afford to pay for holidays.
How old were they when you divorced?
Anthony was about 14, I think, and Dale was 13, and Robbie had just had his bar mitzvah there, so I know he was 13.
Do you have grandchildren? How many and what are their ages?
I have 6 grandchildren, and their ages are... Who's the oldest?
Gabby.
Oh, Gabby, yes. I think. The oldest is Gabby. And she, I don't even know how old she is. 30-something.
I don't know either.
And Gabby is having a baby very soon. I think she's about 31 or so.
Sounds about right.
And then who's next?
I don't know the order.
Kate's 24. I think Jess.
Jess is older than Kate.
Yes. So I should have prepared all this. So we have Gabby and Jessie, Dale and Mark's girls, and then you. No, you're not my grand. Oh, blimey. Boo boo, number.
Who you can go by, how about go by child? So we've done Dale's children, Anthony's children.
Yes, are Kate and Olivia.
Mm-hmm.
And Kate, I think, is 24. And Olivia, 22, 23. Not quite sure, but in the 20s anyway.
And Robin's kids.
And Robin has 2 boys. Quite delightful boys. Well, they have a delightful father. And so's the mom, great.
Yeah.
Very happy marriage, that. Mikey, oh blimey. Gab,
Adam?
Adam. I'm really
Tired today.
struggling with my memory. Adam he's 24, I think. And Mikey is 2 years younger. I think he's 23. Bad with dates.
How would you compare life in South Africa now to other periods in your life?
Oh, well, to me it's refreshing having everybody equal, or ostensibly equal. Unfortunately, white South Africans are no longer equal. They're down the ladder. But it'll sort itself out. I'm really hopeful. It's just so nice to be able to mingle with other people without any judgment, or it's good.
Do you like to travel?
Yes, I did.
Do you have favorite places?
Well, we used to go skiing once a year
Where?
in France, Tignes. We tried Chamonix, which is Switzerland, but it wasn't the same as France.
That's your favorite place?
Yes,
Why?
because I think going there so often, I was beginning to master skiing.
I might get to go skiing
It's wonderful.
because Stefan goes with Maxine in Switzerland.
Don't you think you and I are about the same size?
Maybe. You mean in our bodies?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I must take out is well, you can't wear the same boots
No.
because they're made to your
Feet.
shape.
Yeah.
But I've got a
Ski pants?
suit,
Oh my gosh.
a beautiful one.
I would love that.
Well, have a look a little later.
Okay. That's fun.
And I've got another one up here which you can have.
Okay.
Needs washing because I've been wearing it.
Okay. Do you like books, music, movies, television, live theater, the internet, socializing with friends, dancing? Any of, fun?
Yes.
Which ones? What's your favorite? What do you love?
Well, my problem is that with my eyes, so I can't read. I haven't read anything for ages. I've actually joined Tape Aids for the Blind, but find it a bit difficult to get me to sit in one spot. And then it has ways of how to work the machine, and then I'm lost. So I do have a problem, but I do like books, and I watch TV. That's the easiest.
Did you like movies?
Oh yes, I like movies and Teddy hated them.
Oh, wow.
So we always had to go home straight away after a movie, which I found very boring. And yeah, I enjoyed all those things. And theatre.
Did you like dancing?
Loved it.
The whole Kaye family loves dancing. My dad loves dancing.
Yes, I saw that at the wedding.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Do you have a favorite book or a favorite movie?
Offhand, no. Can't think of anything.
Any
specific?
Any that you just remember enjoying very much?
You know, I remember being taught by Chris. He was probably the first love of my life. And I remember reading poetry with him, and the Russian author Yevtushenko, and being introduced to all these things that I never had anywhere near with Ted. Teddy was a golfer and a poker player, and that filled his life pretty much.
Who is Chris?
Where was or who was?
Who?
Oh, Chris was someone I met in Durban with Lorna, this girlfriend of mine. The two of us went for a walk. There was two guys.
How old were you?
30-something. And we started a relationship with him. He was Mauritian. There we go again. Funny. And he was wonderful. I was introduced in such a kind way, not a case of, oh, you must be kidding, you've never heard of so-and-so. But none of that. It was just very lovely. And that was Chris I met on the beach, at the hotel on the beach.
What are your main interests these days?
Well, it's been very hard, I must say, to find an interest in anything when you can't see what you're doing. I find it. Can I just say anything?
Yeah.
Not in sequence.
Yes.
I'm so different now to the way I was, because I just cannot do the things I used to do. And I'm not one bit afraid of the future or the imminent future. Not afraid to talk about it. And almost looking forward to it, because I cannot do what I used to do, and I feel inadequate. And yeah, I think that's it. But I'm not afraid. You know, when the time comes, I'll almost be grateful. Not that I want it to come.
Yes, I know.
You know, I don't want it to come. I don't want it to come for the reason that I don't know it's what you don't know
Yeah.
is worrisome, you know, make you a bit fearful.
Yeah. But baseline, you're not afraid.
Not at all. No. No.
So, do you know the musician Leonard Cohen?
Yes.
So, he recently passed away.
Yes.
And have you heard his new song?
No.
I'll play it for you.
Be lovely.
Because he's saying I'm ready, and it's so beautiful. And anyway, I'll play it for you. Are you content with the path your life has taken up to now?
Yes. I'm really happy that I've managed to find a home, I guess you could call it. I'm going to struggle through this.
Do you want me to stop?
Thanks.